future is now. And welcome to the SVK Crypto podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame.
My name's Charles Storry. I will be your host for the next 15 minutes. We're coming live from the city of London, Shoreditch. So let's get down to business. And today's show is going to have a slightly different format. We have the CEO and founder of Quantstamp, Richard Ma, with us today. For the listeners out there who haven't had the privilege of hearing about Quantstamp as of yet, let me give you a quick background. So Quantstamp helps secure blockchain applications such as smart contracts. They're basically developing a new protocol for smart contract verification, performing professional audits and consultations, and developing security tools. On top of this, there are Y Combinator projects who successfully had an ICO last year. So listen, why don't we find out more from Richard Ma? So let's get into it. On the show today, we have Richard Ma, the man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. He is the co-founder and CEO of Quantstamp. Richard, how's it going?
Oh, hey, Charles. It's going great. Really appreciate being on the show. As you know, SVK Crypto is really a good supporter of Quantstamp, and we've known each other a long time, so really happy to be on the show.
We have indeed, man. We have indeed. I remember when the Quantstamp ICO came around, right? And you guys were the first to do this. You had the proof of care system? You guys created that, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I think you told me someone called their cat and dog, or their dogs Quant and Stamp. Was that right? Or some kind some kind of crazy story like that, right? And so, well, first of all, I just want to say what a big fan I am of the 1994 T-shirt.
Yeah. Thanks. We actually have a new one coming out too. After the BetaNet launch. So we're actually launching our BetaNet today. And so we're pretty excited about that.
Great. And how long has this been in the pipeline for you guys?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. So we're calling it the BetaNet, but actually this is the Quantstamp Mainnet launch. So we've been working on this, since our team started last year. And in March of last year, we deployed the testnet. And after 5 months of testing and improvements, now we have a system that can do these decentralized audits, which are verifiable on the blockchain.
And you guys have been working with some really impressive companies. I mean, you see a lot of projects that have come out and they haven't been able to execute. You guys have been knocking the ball out of the park. And one big client you guys were working with was Binance, right? You were auditing the ERC20 tokens.
Yeah. So I think Quantstamp, to date, we had more than 30 customers already. Some of them are Binance, but also we work with other exchanges, like Coin, which is a Japanese exchange. We've also worked with a lot of really big ICOs that have happened.
Yeah.
I think one of the recent ones were like Carry Protocol, which is a Korean one. And Mainframe, which was also a pretty good one as well. Yeah, so our mission is just to enable the mainstream adoption of smart contracts. So we think like helping out really good projects, helping out exchanges is gonna make that process faster, because we can kind of increase the security of all of these companies that we work with.
Absolutely. I mean, at the minute, Quantstamp is in a really great position because you've got some of the best clients in the business, as you mentioned, the impressive resume just now. At the minute, like, what's more important for you guys? Is it really kind of product development, or is it going out and kind of building clients? Is it both? I mean, where's your focus at the minute? Where's the company's focus?
Our focus is always releasing the protocol.
Yeah.
So I think basically, if we have paying clients, we can actually get all their feedback to build a better protocol. And that's led to the release of the BetaNet now. So on the BetaNet, actually anyone in the world can use QSP tokens and get a decentralized audit. So currently the network It's a permissioned network, but the node operators, they can be from all over the world. And we just launched our kind of node operator application process. So, for like people who want to audit, that's confirmed on chain, and that they can show the proof to anyone. This is actually the first time in history you can do this.
That's amazing. And how have you seen the uptick pick up? Is this something that you've seen a lot of demand for as of recently? Because I know everyone needs Quantstamp in their project and what they're building out on to test everything and audit everything. But have you seen much demand from the community? Has there been lots of people, developers who've reached out to you guys, or is it mainly kind of up and running projects you've been dealing with?
I think for like for audits, there's different levels of I would say comprehensiveness. So when we're doing the automated audit, it can check a lot of really common bugs, and that's basically what the Quantstamp protocol can do. So it's costs a lot less than a full scale manual audit, and the goal is to bring up the quality over time. So yeah, I mean, we've seen like on our website, I think we had over 600 audits from the demo app,
Really? Wow.
which is just the first. And this one is actually a lot better because here we're actually using Mithril and Oyente, and we actually combine them. So these are two different symbolic execution tools. And over time, we actually built a wrapper so we can add many other different tools that basically can make the check a lot of different things. And also, I think, we have plans on our side to add other interesting features to it. So it's kind of like something that is going to improve over time and where the cost is a lot less than getting a manual audit.
And with Quantstamp at the minute, and this is more of a personal question for you, Richard. Where do you see Quantstamp being in the next kind of 5 to 10 years? Where do you see its position being? What's your vision? What do you see kind of happening in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, well, I have two goals. I think one is to drive the mainstream adoption of smart contracts, and the second is market domination for the smart contract tooling market. So, our goal is to eventually get 99% of the smart contract tooling market for security. So obviously those two come hand in hand because, the more customers that use our protocol, the more, enterprise customers we have, then we can kind of build a network to offer the best service. Whether it's like the protocol or it's the more comprehensive enterprise audits, that's our goal. So, as the whole space grows exponentially going forward, we think there's a really important place for, a comprehensive firm that's offering, really good automated audits.
Yeah.
And that anybody can just do.
And you guys, as you just mentioned on protocols, right? You guys aren't just limited to Ethereum. You're looking at other protocols. You're really building with the ecosystem and growing as well, right? Because you're building out to other protocols too.
Yeah. So currently we're also working with OneChain. So right now we're actually auditing the OneChain 2.0 contract. I think we've been having a really lot of positive interactions with them, and we also plan to audit the OneLab incubated projects. So we actually have a partnership with OneChain. And we've been looking at other audits as well. So for example, like NEO audits. We also have a contract to audit an EOS project. So kind of our goal is really to bring security to smart contracts, regardless of actually the underlying technology. And how I kind of frame it is that, during the rise of the internet, there were lots of different protocols, there were lots of different kind of silos. but the companies that succeeded, they just went with whichever one was getting the most adoption, and that's kind of our strategy as well.
And kind of more of a market related question. What's your take on the market? Are you worried at all? So a lot of people out there, especially the retail who are new into the market, are really worried about what's going on. What's your kind of comment on that, Richard?
Oh, I take a very long view.
I like that.
The whole the whole smart contract market is very early. So, I used to be actually a derivatives trader for many years, and I saw lots of markets go down and go up. And as CEO of Quantstamp, I really take the long view. I think that the technology is very early. So even the major platforms, there's lots of bugs on them. They don't
Yeah.
always work well. And there's a lot of barriers to entry for people who want to use cryptocurrencies. There's regulatory barriers, there's usability barriers. Like it's hard for people to keep their private key
Yeah.
safe, right? So just recently there was a huge news, like Michael Turpin, he lost um, his private key via a phishing attack, right, from hijacking his SIM card. So as long as the space is still in a developing stage, I generally take the long view on this, and I think that in 5 years, this is a transformational technology. Obviously, like blockchain, it can't just be used for everything. There's very specific applications where it's used well
Right.
and it makes sense. But in those cases, it's certainly here to stay. So that's the view we take, and obviously, like we're gonna try our best to get the space there. So, when we see good projects, we want to help them out, and we want to build our protocol to the best of our ability. So delivering the beta net is really our commitment to this.
Absolutely, and there. But prior to that, was kind of was there an alpha test on your website where people could basically put their code into to basically check, and that would automate if there's any bugs or any kind of drawbacks on that as well.
Oh yeah, so it's at betanet.quantstamp.com. So today is the day we're actually
Woo!
releasing it. So
Congratulations, man.
first interview today. Uh, and yeah, so now it's a
Yeah.
permissionless system. So people don't have to go onto Quantstamp's like servers to get permission to do this. It's actually the smart contract has already been deployed to the Ethereum mainnet, so anyone can just access it via the smart contract. We made the
Yeah.
UI, the user interface, so it's easier for people to use. If they don't want to go through the hassle of interacting with my Ether wallet and sending the code via that
Awesome.
route.
So any developer out there listening can now go to the website, which is that beta.quantstamp.com?
Betanet.quantstamp.com.
And
Yeah,
basically, so they can input their code there, and it's going to automate a process that's basically going to check. How long does that normally take? Is it pretty quick?
it's pretty quick. So actually, when we were building it, we realized that the checking part, that takes like 30 seconds to 2 minutes. But the confirmation on the blockchain takes a bit longer. So the longest part right now is the confirmation part. But like it's kind of like for a typical audit, you're not doing
Right.
it while you're developing, right? You're kind of like, okay, I got my code to a pretty good state. Now I want to get an audit. So here, normally an audit it can take days to weeks. Here it's more like on the order of 20 minutes for the block confirmation. So you just like send it in, come get a cup of coffee, and you come back.
It's that easy. I like that. I think it's really interesting because you guys are at the forefront of seeing what's happening, seeing the tech development. And if you look at where the market was last year, a market cap size was roughly the same. Obviously, the tech's improved massively. What have you guys seen on that behalf compared to this time last year? Would you agree with that the tech's been improving on the developer side, and you're having more developers building and using this as well?
Yeah, what I would say is definitely the space is maturing a lot. I think the customers are getting more educated, and the projects are definitely developing more useful prototypes before launching. So that's kind of a trend. But overall, like when we do our code audits, you can imagine um, we're like the mechanics who look under the hood of the nice, beautiful 1960s sports car. So, every time we do an audit, we always find issues, whether they're minor issues or they're major issues. And we also look at like game theoretical issues when we do these. So that skill set I think is going to be developing for many years to come. I think is going to be for many years to come before we do an audit and we just don't see anything. So and also the technology itself is also changing quickly. So for developers who are building these new projects this year, um, they're actually learning different things. Some of the tutorials that were produced last year actually, they're kind of deprecated now. Uh, that's kind of the overall space, right? But now this year, I think there's much larger projects that are launching. So one I'm really excited about is actually GroundX. This is the project, from Kakao from Korea. It's a major corporation. So I think that's a good bellwether for what's to
And
come.
is Quantstamp auditing GroundX?
No, no. Currently, we don't have
Oh,
anything announced
okay.
like that. No, but I'm just excited about that because I think it's a good trend for the industry.
Absolutely. And what sectors at the
Um,
minute are you most interested to see blockchain being adopted into? Now, as you mentioned before, it doesn't need to get into every industry because, as Jimmy Song said in Consensus, it's not magic dust that you can put over stuff and it's just going to change the industry, right? There's use cases and there's some industries that don't really need blockchain technology. But what are you most excited by, and what are you kind of waiting for that to be adopted into the system?
yeah, I'm excited for games. So I think games are going to be a really low barrier way to spread the technology. Younger people, they have an easier time adapting to blockchain because they're used to
Right,
be on
right.
their phones all the time. They're used to digital payments. They just kind of grew up with this. And even Ethereum itself, it was kind of inspired by World of Warcraft, where they have this in-game currency system. So we have some upcoming audits that are for different game companies, and we're really excited about those. But also, with the release of our protocol, we hope that game developers who don't have a lot of funding, they can just go onto our protocol and get an audit directly. They don't even have to deal with us. Um, so that's kind of like one area I think is going to be really applicable. Recently, there was a game that came out. I think it's called like War Vehicles, War Machines, or something.
Is that on the
Where they
Ethereum
have these like
protocol, or is that on EOS?
I think this one is on Ethereum, but I actually didn't look at the underlying blockchain. But it's kind of these like collectible cards that you can battle, and there's an
Oh
iOS and an
wow.
Android app. Uh, yeah, it's one of the more sophisticated games that's come out. This is a kind of a different level than CryptoKitties. So I'm excited about that this year. Um, and for us, we're also working with some projects for releasing that. So different
Yeah.
games like that. So I think that's a good area. The other area I think is going to be interesting is actually enterprise blockchains. So as you know, one of the problems with running public blockchains is like data privacy, right? It For big companies, it actually kind of causes a barrier for them to adopt because of like compliance reasons or like GDPR, things like this, like actually very real
Right.
business problems. So when I talk to like these big companies, they're drawn a lot more to projects like Hyperledger Fabric or Sawtooth or other things that allow for privacy. So I think that's going to be a trend that's also here to stay. When they build something, they're going to want those built-in protections.
Kind of on that point there, Richard, I absolutely agree with you. But we see a lot of different things at the minute. You have R3 quarter, you're building out private permission blockchains. Do you see that as the future?
My view is actually intranets still exist, right? So in any case where there's a really severe security concern, then it's not actually connected to the public internet. I think that basically there's two paths forward, and I think one path is being taken by some public blockchains where they actually prove this the privacy. So we're really interested in these type of blockchains which can prove that certain data are private, and they use different methods. There's ZK snarks, there's ZK starks, and I think that's area which is going to be really interesting. So maybe 10 years down the line, if we get more of these privacy technologies on public blockchains, it can actually solve the very real business problem for enterprises who want to use it.
Awesome, man. So listen, what are you doing to celebrate the mainnet launch tonight? Have you got any plans?
I mean, our company, our people have been really working on this full steam for the last 8 months. So we're really excited about the launch, and yeah, the team is in very high spirits. So I think we'll just kind of see. We'll actually monitor our network and make sure it's completely running okay.
You've got to make sure everything's running okay.
I think that's
I love that. And when are we going to see Quantstamp in London? I mean, the Quantstamp community are waiting for the visit, man. When's it going to happen?
Oh, so it could happen soon because we're actually going to East Berlin, coming up, I think, next week. So, we can talk offline, but yeah, we're super excited about visiting London and connecting with our community there.
Awesome.
We have a lot of
don't I know it, man. Everywhere I go, I get questions about Quantstamp. Every crypto meetup, man. Because you guys originally did come to London last year before the ICO, I think, right? There was a stop to London.
Yeah, we did.
And from my understanding as well, Richard, you went to school for a bit in England. Is that correct?
That's correct. I actually went to school for 5 years in London.
Oh, right. You know the deal, man. You know your way around. Great. Well, listen. Hey, Richard, as always, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for making the time. I know you're super busy, and congratulations once again on the mainnet launch. Anything that you want to say to the listeners? And is there anything that you want them to do? Is there a Telegram channel they can join? How can they connect?
I would say go to betanet.quantstamp.com and get a decentralized audit. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Quantstamp for any other exciting news.
Good stuff. Listen, thank you so much, Richard, man. And listen, I wish you the best with the mainnet, and I don't foresee any issues there. I think you guys, because I know how you work, I know how thorough you are. I don't think there's going to be any issues at all, man. And I look forward to having you on the show again soon.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
I want to say a big thank you to Richard Ma for making it on the show today. We really appreciate your time. And once again, congratulations on the mainnet launch. And we also want to say a big thank you to you, the listener. And remember, as always, to check us out on our social channels, Telegram, SVK Space Crowd, Twitter at SVK_crypto. And of course, feel free to email myself, Storry, CSTORRY at svkcrypto.com. That's a wrap, and I got to bounce. Thank you so much for your time.
You've been listening to an SVK Crypto podcast original. Follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. Email us on cstorry at svkcrypto.com. Leave us a message on our website, www.svkcrypto.com.